to do in restoring the bay? Should there be tighter restrictions and more rigorous enforcement regarding chicken farms? What's your thoughts? I think it's your turn, Mike.
I don't know about chicken farms, but actually I do. But I think the question should also have added Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is really part of the culprit of the problems in the bay as it comes down. And so we did have a presentation about chicken farms, particularly on the Eastern Shore. And there's been no decision about what they're going to do with it, because that's the livelihood of so many people. And the day that we had that discussion on the Senate floor, well, one of the pages, we have pages in Annapolis. There's high school seniors who come down for 2 separate weeks and work in the legislature. And one of the young men was working on a chicken farm. He was working his way through college, working there. Excuse me. And I asked him if we had implemented these things, would he still have a job? And he said no. So that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind.
Thank you.
Chesapeake Bay is one of Maryland's greatest treasures. It has an impact not just on the environment, but on our health, on tourism and economic development, and therefore jobs in a much broader sense than chicken farmers. The chicken and poultry industry have a lot of clout in the state. They give away a lot of money. They have a loud voice. They need to have tough oversight. We need to make sure that our inspectors are making sure that the runoff from the chicken litter is the kind word for excrement, that doesn't ending up in the bay and fouling our waters. New technology, once again, can do such wonders for us. There's conversation about using that litter to make green energy and help power our cars someday. Who knows? But I think we've got to keep looking into that new technology. There have to be great inspections, but fundamentally we've got to keep the eye on the prize, continuing to make progress on cleaning the Chesapeake Bay.
Are needed in the respective roles played by individual counties, the state of Maryland, and the federal government regarding standards, budgets, and teacher retirement funds. So what changes are needed?
I think I'm the first this time. Okay. Well, my wonderful husband is a 32-year educator in our public schools. My sister is a teacher. I have also, as I said, been a teacher and taught at Montgomery College as well. We have to have, as our fundamental priority, the education of our kids and grandkids. How do we do it? No Child Left Behind was a terrible idea that George Bush, bless his heart, inflicted on our country and made a mess of our educational system. Yes, there should be standards. Yes, there should be testing. But teachers who are stuck with teaching to the test do not help educate our kids. We've got to keep the standards high by hiring great teachers, paying them well, and making sure they have a secure retirement. Speaking of retirement, the longest-serving Senate president in Maryland history or in the country, Mike Miller, has for the last year or so been talking about shifting the teacher pension back to the counties. That would be a huge burden, and we need to make sure that we all say no to that. Now, Senator Miller has endorsed Senator Forehand, because he always does, and that's fine, but that's huge. We've got to protect those pensions.
Jenny?
Well, we certainly agree on this, and getting it to the pension. Well, I'm a former teacher also, and I was thinking we really, one of the reasons that people in Annapolis are trying to turn the pensions back to the counties is because, particularly in Montgomery County, is because our cost of living is higher and therefore our salaries are higher. And yet other counties look at us and say, and you know, and they have a lot of votes, and they say that, well, we don't have to raise our our salaries so high, and maybe we would cut it off at a base level and then have the counties pay even more after that. But I think it would be so complex because, example, if a teacher taught 22 years, lived in Frederick County, taught 22 years there, wanted for the last 3 years to teach in Montgomery County and have a higher salary, then is Montgomery County going to get stuck with pension for the rest of their lives? I don't think so.
Legislation. Every year there are good pieces of legislation that do not get passed. What legislation from 2010 that did not get passed would you like to see passed in 2011 and why? I don't remember actually who was last. Jenny's on it. All right. What piece of legislation didn't get passed that should come back?
Well, I have been focusing on a lot of things, but human trafficking is one of the things that we don't think about here. And when we do think about it, we think, oh, it only happens to immigrants who come here. But it's not. It includes our kids, like the kid next door maybe who got angry with her family and ran away and got caught up with some human traffickers who put them in prostitution for a long time. And my bill this year increased the penalties to felonies for all sorts of for anybody involved in this trade. But we want the penalties to be higher and to be parallel to those for drug dealers. We think people dealing in drugs is not nearly as severe and horrible and needs as high a punishment as somebody who's dealing in humans. So that's one of the things that I want passed this year.
Thank you. Carol.
There are always a lot of good bills that get killed for various reasons, so I'll just pick one, which is about campaign finance reform. It is legal right now to accept $4,000 from an individual, $6,000 for a PAC, a political action committee. I think that's way too high. So when I kicked off my campaign, I voluntarily chose to cap at 50% of what the law allows and have not accepted more than $2,000 from an individual or $3,000 from a political committee. Another proposal that I have addressed in what I called my Clean 17 pledge is voluntarily closing what's called the LLC loophole. So that means if I were a rich corporate person and I had 10 different corporate entities and 10 different checkbooks, I could, within the law, write $4,000 maximum under each of those checkbooks, contributing $40,000 to the candidate of my choice. I think that's wrong. That loophole should be closed. I have voluntarily closed it in this campaign by cutting at 50%, closing the loophole. I think that needs to be law.
Outline the primary sources of your campaign funds.
I think that's me first, right? Okay. Jenny talks about having a lot of supporters and donors. We just, a few weeks ago, passed over 1,000 donors, separate donations to my campaign. My average gift was about half of Jenny's average gift, and that's because I truly have gotten checks and donations for $5, $10, $25, and $100. And granted, when the firefighters endorsed me, they gave me a big check. Frankly, they gave me too much. I had to send it back under my voluntary cap because of my reduced limit. My contributions have come as I've door knocked and met people at their doors. I've had people say, hold on a second, and go and come back with a $20 bill and want to support my campaign. I'm grateful and will continue to appreciate the grassroots support that I've gotten. Thank you to all of you in this room or those who are watching on video for your support. And you can donate, CherylKagan.org. It's a very quick and secure gift through PayPal using your credit card quite securely. Thank you.
Jenny.
Thank you very much. You know, I haven't had a major campaign in many years. And so I have been saving all of my money in my campaign account and not needing to spend it on, like we're spending now, sending all this stuff you get every day. and for both of us. And I think that with all of the copies of the checks that I have, some of the money is still in that check in my campaign account that people gave me 20 years ago. And so I've got the dates on those checks, and if I ever have time or have a volunteer, maybe we'll put that online and go with it. But I think that I'm really pleased that I've been able to get contributions from some people, from so many people, and you know, $5 from somebody is a wonderful gift, and particularly I've had so many seniors giving me a bill of $5 or $10 because they see me as someone who's looking out for seniors.